Hey, English learners! Welcome back to Mr. English Daily, the show where we have real conversations about real life in real English.
I'm Leo.
And I'm Luna. And if you are listening to this right now, whether you're on the bus, doing dishes, lying in bed pretending you'll sleep soon, we are genuinely happy you're here.
Same. And today's topic? Oh, it's a good one.
It is. But first, Leo, quick question. Look around you right now. What do you see?
My desk, my laptop, 3 empty water bottles I keep forgetting to throw away, a hoodie that lives on my chair permanently, 2 chargers, one of which I don't even know what it charges.
The mystery charger. Every home has one.
It just lives there. Nobody questions it.
Okay, so that is actually a perfect starting point for today, because what you just described, that's not just a messy desk. That is a very common modern problem, and it has a name.
Clutter.
Clutter, and we are going to talk all about it today, along with something bigger, the idea that less can actually give you more.
Which, honestly, when I first heard that phrase, I thought, that makes no sense. Less is less. More is more. Simple math.
Right? But stick with us, because by the end of this episode, you might think about it differently.
And while we talk, you're not just getting interesting ideas, you're getting natural English, the kind of English you can use when talking about your home, your habits, your stress, your phone, your mystery charger.
This is a B2 level episode, so the vocabulary is a step up, more natural, more layered. But we'll speak clearly, repeat the important stuff, and every time a key word from our word spotlight comes up for the first time, one of us will stop and explain it simply.
If you're a strong B1 listener, stay with us. Some moments might feel like a stretch, and that's actually great. That stretch is where the learning lives.
Later in the episode, we'll slow things down and do our word spotlight, where we look at the most useful words and phrases from today, explain them clearly, and give you examples you can actually use.
But before we get into all of that, we need a tiny favor from you.
If this show helps you, if it makes English feel more natural, or just makes your commute less boring, please hit like, subscribe, and share this with one person in your life who keeps saying, I need to get organized, but never starts.
We see you. We are you.
And we want to hear from you in the comments. 2 questions today.
Question 1. Right now, in your space, your room, your phone, your life, are you closer to a calm, organized person or a person who has 47 unread emails and 6 half-finished notebooks?
No judgment. We are asking from a place of love.
Question 2. What is one thing you'd like to cut back on this month? It could be screen time, impulse buying, saying yes when you mean no, anything.
Write something like, definitely 47 emails. I want to cut back on late-night phone scrolling. Or, getting there, I want to cut back on buying things just because they're on sale.
We actually read the comments. They shape future episodes, so your answer matters.
All right, let's get into it. Section 1. Why do we keep wanting more?
Okay, so here's the question we have to start with. If peace and quiet feel so good, why do we keep chasing more and more and more?
It's genuinely strange, right? Like, most people would say they want a simpler life, less stress, more breathing room, but then we keep adding things.
More apps, more subscriptions, more plans, more stuff on the chair.
The chair always suffers. So, Leo, why do you think we do it?
For me, honestly, a big part of it is comparison. You see what someone else has, a nicer phone, a cooler apartment, a more exciting weekend, and suddenly what you have feels smaller, less exciting.
That feeling has a phrase in English, keeping up with someone. To keep up with means to try and stay at the same level as another person. Same things, same lifestyle, same speed.
And social media makes keeping up with everyone basically a full-time job.
Right. Your day is fine. You're fine. You're actually fine. And then you open your phone and scroll for 4 minutes, and suddenly you feel like you're behind on life.
And so without really thinking, you start buying, planning, signing up for things, not because you actually want them, but because of that pressure to keep up.
And this connects to a bigger idea, consumerism. Consumerism is a lifestyle and a culture where the main response to almost any emotion is buy something. Sad? Buy something. Bored? Buy something. Happy? Celebrate by buying something.
And it does feel good at first. New things are exciting. There's a real little rush.
There is, but here's the problem. If you repeat that cycle enough, the rush gets shorter and the heaviness after gets longer.
You don't end up feeling full. You end up feeling overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. That's our first word spotlight. Overwhelmed means there's simply too much to handle. Too many choices, too many things to manage, too many tabs open in your brain. You feel heavy and tired without even knowing why.
I had that with my wardrobe. I had so many clothes, and one morning I stood there completely stuck. I couldn't choose what to wear.
And that is actually a known thing, decision fatigue. When you have too many choices, your brain gets tired just from choosing.
I wasn't suffering because I had nothing to wear. I was suffering because I had too many decisions to make before 8 a.m.
So that's idea number 1 today. We keep wanting more because the world tells us to compare and buy, but more often becomes too much, and too much turns into stress. Section 2, the weight of clutter.
So now let's talk about clutter, because I think clutter is the physical proof of everything we just said.
Yes. Clutter is when there are too many things in a space, so it feels crowded and unsettled. Not necessarily dirty, just full, without order.
Think about your desk, your bag, your camera roll. Each individual thing might not be a problem, but together they create this feeling of chaos.
And the tricky part is that clutter doesn't stay in the room, it follows you.
Completely. Your brain kind of mirrors your environment. A cluttered space creates a cluttered mind.
It's like your brain has its own room, and if that room is full, unfinished tasks piled in the corner, notifications stacked on the table, old worries sitting in a chair, then even quiet moments don't feel quiet.
My brain definitely has a junk drawer.
Mine too. But here's the thing. When you clear even one small area, something shifts. Not everything, just one surface, one drawer.
It's like opening a window in a room that's been closed too long.
And that brings up a word I want to introduce, intentional. Intentional means you do something on purpose with a clear reason behind it, not by accident, not just because everyone else is doing it.
So instead of buying 5 random things because they were on sale, you buy one thing intentionally because you actually need it, you'll actually use it, and it actually fits your life.
Or instead of downloading every language app that exists, you choose 2 that really work for you and you actually use them.
Less searching, more doing.
Exactly. And when your choices become intentional, your space starts to feel like yours again, not a warehouse for things you forgot you owned.
Sure. So instead of buying 5 random things because they were on sale, you buy one thing intentionally because you actually need it, you'll actually use it, and it actually fits your life.
Or instead of downloading every language app that exists, you choose 2 that really work for you and you actually use them.
Less searching, more doing.
Exactly. And when your choices become intentional, your space starts to feel like yours again, not a warehouse for things you forgot you owned.
I want to share a personal story here.
Please.
So last year, I went on a trip. Normally, when I travel, I pack like I'm preparing for every possible emergency. Extra shoes, backup outfits, cables for devices I might not even bring.
So basically, you bring your whole room with you.
Basically. But this time, I decided to downsize.
Downsize. That means to make something smaller or reduce it. Your home, your bag, the number of things you own.
So I fit everything into one backpack. And the first day, honestly, I felt nervous. What if I need something I'm left behind?
That what-if feeling is so real.
But by day 2, I felt light. I wasn't spending mental energy every morning managing things. I just wore what I had. And my brain had space to actually enjoy the trip.
That's the shift. Your things were working for you instead of you working to manage your things.
That's a great way to say it.
And I think a lot of people have had a version of that feeling. You go away for a weekend with just a small bag, you stay somewhere simple, and somehow you feel more relaxed than you do in your own home.
And then you come back, open your front door, and look at all your stuff like, when did you all get here?
Who invited all of you? Okay, so this is actually the heart of what some people call minimalism. Now, minimalism gets a reputation for being extreme.
Like you own 3 objects and sit in silence all day.
Right, but real minimalism, practical minimalism, is much simpler. It just means keep what matters and let go of the rest.
And let go of is a really important phrase. To let go of something means to release it, to stop holding on to it in your life so you can move forward.
It works for physical things, old clothes, gadgets, that mystery charger, but also for less visible things, old plans you're not really pursuing, goals that belong to an older version of you.
When you let go of things you're holding on to out of habit or guilt, you get something back.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind means your inner world feels calm. You're not constantly worried, not constantly managing things in the background. Your mental space just breathes.
I had that experience with my inbox. I had years of unread newsletters, old promotions, random signups. One day, I just sat down and dealt with it, unsubscribed from hundreds of things, deleted the backlog.
That must have taken forever.
It took a while, but the week after, I checked my email less. I felt less pulled. It was like turning down background noise I didn't even realize was playing.
Less noise, more quiet. Less clutter, more peace of mind.
Section 4, JOMO and your English journey. Okay, I want to introduce one more idea before our word spotlight, and it's one of my favorites.
What is it?
You've probably heard of FOMO.
Fear of missing out, that anxious feeling when everyone else seems to be somewhere or doing something and you're not there.
Right. JOMO is the opposite. JOMO, J-O-M-O, stands for the joy of missing out. It's that feeling of genuine happiness when you choose not to go, not to join, not to participate, and it feels like freedom.
I had a full JOMO moment last weekend. My friends were going out. I stayed home, made dinner, watched something slow, went to bed early.
And?
Woke up feeling like a new person. I didn't regret it for 1 second. I actually enjoyed not being there.
That is JOMO. And in a world that tells you to be everywhere, do everything, and document it all, choosing one quiet evening for yourself is actually a kind of power.
And we can bring this same idea into your English learning.
Yes, because I know many learners who are not lazy. They're overloaded. 5 apps, 4 YouTube channels, a textbook, a vocab notebook, a grammar guide.
And they're so busy switching between everything that they don't really go deep into any one thing.
Sometimes the best move is to cut back on the number of tools.
Cut back on, another key phrase. To cut back on something means to reduce it, do it less than before.
Maybe you cut back on the number of platforms you use and spend more time with one that really works for you. Maybe you cut back on searching for the perfect method and just show up and do the imperfect one.
Less switching, more depth.
Less guilt about what you're not doing, more consistency with what you are doing.
That's actually really freeing.
Right? And remember, less doesn't mean nothing. It means not everything all at once all the time.
Word spotlight.
Okay, let's slow down for our word spotlight. We're going to go through the key words and phrases from today. If you can, say them with us, even quietly. It helps.
Word 1. Clutter.
Clutter is when there are too many things in a space and it feels messy, crowded, and disorganized. Not always dirty, just full and unsettled.
Example 1. There's so much clutter on my desk, I can't find anything.
Example 2. After I cleared the clutter from my room, I actually felt calmer.
Repeat. Clutter.
Clutter.
Word 2. Consumerism.
Consumerism is the idea or lifestyle where buying things is the main response to emotions or problems. Bored? Buy something. Stressed? Buy something.
Example 1. Consumerism makes us think we always need the newest version of everything.
Example 2. I'm trying to step away from consumerism and appreciate what I already have.
Repeat. Consumerism.
Consumerism.
Word 3. Downsize.
To downsize means to make something smaller or reduce it. Your home, your bag, the number of things you own.
Example 1. They decided to downsize and move into a smaller apartment.
Example 2. I downsized my travel bag and felt so much lighter.
Repeat. Downsize.
Downsize.
Word 4. Intentional.
Intentional means doing something on purpose with a clear reason behind it, not by accident, not just because everyone else is doing it.
Example 1. I want to be more intentional about how I spend my evenings.
Example 2. She was intentional with her time and only said yes to plans that felt right.
Repeat. Intentional.
Intentional.
Word 5. Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed means there's too much to handle, too many things, thoughts, or emotions at once. You feel heavy, stuck, and tired.
Example 1. He felt completely overwhelmed by all the messages waiting for him.
Example 2. When my space is disorganized, I get overwhelmed and can't focus.
Repeat. Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
Phrase 1. Peace of mind.
Peace of mind is a calm, settled feeling inside. You're not constantly anxious, not managing 100 things in your head. You just feel okay.
Example 1. Having a simple routine gives me peace of mind.
Example 2. After cleaning my inbox, I finally had some peace of mind.
Repeat. Peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Phrase 2. Keep up with.
To keep up with someone means to try and stay at the same level, same things, same lifestyle, same pace.
Example 1. He bought a new phone just to keep up with his friends.
Example 2. Trying to keep up with everyone online is exhausting.
Repeat. Keep up with.
Keep up with.
Phrase 3. Cut back on.
To cut back on something means to reduce it, do it less than before.
Example 1. I'm trying to cut back on screen time before bed.
Example 2. She cut back on social media and felt much more present.
Repeat. Cut back on.
Cut back on.
Phrase 4. Let go of.
To let go of something means to release it, to stop holding on to it so you can move forward.
Example 1. He finally let go of clothes he hadn't worn in 3 years.
Example 2. Sometimes you have to let go of old goals that no longer fit who you are.
Repeat. Let go of.
Let go of.
And last one, JOMO.
JOMO, joy of missing out, the happy feeling you get when you choose not to join something and feel completely fine about it.
Example 1. I felt pure JOMO staying home while everyone else was out.
Example 2. A little JOMO can protect your energy better than any productivity app.
Repeat. JOMO.
JOMO. That was your word spotlight for today. You don't need to remember every single word perfectly right now. If just 1 or 2 stayed with you, that's already something. Real.
And if one of them connects to your life, use it. Write it down. Say it out loud. Try it in a sentence later today. That is how language actually becomes yours.
Because language learning, just like life, doesn't need to be everything at once.
Less pressure, more progress.
Less noise, more peace of mind.
And maybe tonight, when you look at your room, your phone, or your inbox, you'll think of one tiny thing you can let go of. Just one.
And if you do, come tell us in the comments. We genuinely love reading them.
Thank you for spending this time with us today on Mr. English Daily.
Take care of your English and take care of yourself, and we'll see you in the next one.